Okay, we're going to just go over a couple of quick PowerPoints. This one's called Beyond Content, How to Write Well. And writing is accessible when the reader can interpret what you've written. And I know that almost sounds silly to say, but how many times have you read a paper and it was kind of over your head, or you felt like they were using words that they were intentionally trying to make it difficult for you? Okay, so it goes beyond the words you use, it goes into the structure and in the paragraph style. Okay, so when it's not what the reader is expecting, it's very disruptive. Okay, so this is actually a pretty helpful little chart. As you go down the list, they're more upsetting. Okay, so word choice is less upsetting than word location. Sentence structure and sentence location can be frustrating when there are errors there, but when there are errors in paragraph location and paragraph structure, it actually makes it hard to read, and it upsets the reader and their interpretation. So using the wrong words and phrases can affect the ability of the reader to comprehend what you're trying to say. So if you're imprecise or you're unnecessarily complex, okay, and those two are sort of related, but they're kind of opposites. And what I mean is, if you say something that's so vague, then no one's going to be able to follow it. And if you say something that's so detailed or so complicated, then someone likely won't be able to follow that either. Okay, jargon, and again, I've mentioned before, the field and audience can play into that a little bit. When you get to being redundant or using unnecessary words, unnecessary phrases, a lot of that's that fluffy writing that I was talking about. If you're overly verbose, or if you overuse the abbreviations, how many times have you dug into a sentence that felt like it was a bunch of 3 letters or acronyms all jumbled together? You want to avoid that. Okay, and I'm kind of in the way of this a little bit here, so you'll just have to listen to me. But word location is the placement of words in a sentence, and they can say a lot about what the important information is. So typical format is topic to the stress, and old information is in the beginning that links back to the prior sentence, and new information is at the end of the sentence. And then sentences should be 20 to 22 words, and short is always, it says typically better, it's generally better, but if it's a lot of short sentences, it can be choppy, so you want to read it and have it feel like it flows well. Okay, so again, with the sentence structure, you're asking what's the subject, what's happening to the subject, what words are important, how does the sentence link back to the previous one, and how is it going to then tie into the next one. All of the words and the order that they're in all matter, and they fit in within the broader context of the paragraph, the topic, and the paper. And while individual sentences matter, they're just a component of your paragraph, and there should just be one major point per paragraph. And all sentences in that paragraph should relate to or should support the core point. And the sentence location, this is talking about sentences that tie in, that cause transitions to feel smooth and fluid. And again, they link these sentences together and paragraphs together. So the first sentence is important. It provides an overview. It states the core take-home message of the paragraph, and it should be linked to the prior paragraph and provide a bridge sort of between what you were talking about and what you're going into. Perhaps you're introducing a topic, perhaps you're fine-tuning the topic that you're talking about, and again, the topic sentence does not have to be in the first paragraph, but that's definitely the easiest way to do it. Okay, and finally, the rest of the paragraph builds on that topic sentence. It provides evidence for the claims, and there are a lot of strategies on how to arrange these. It can be from most to least important. It can be from least to most important. It can go chronologically if you compare and contrast. It can present a problem and then provide the solution, and it can generally be based on your topic sentence. And it's important to ensure that your paragraph has good flow. Again, it should be logical. It often helps to have it go from those broad topics to those fine-tuned topics. Use transitions between sentences so they don't feel choppy, even if they're short sentences. And be consistent with the terminology. If you're introducing a new term I haven't heard before, please don't just give me the abbreviation, give me the entire term for the first time. And the sentences should flow, the topics should flow, and in general, the entire paragraph as a self-contained paragraph should make sense. And I should be able to see some sort of logical progression through it. And don't forget to make the connection between your paragraph and the overall point of the paper. So the BIOL method can help you craft your paragraph. I'm going to step back here so you can read it, but start with your paragraph with a clear topic sentence that establishes what your paragraph is going to be about. Your point should support your essay, argument, or thesis statement. And then E, evidence example. Here you should use a piece of evidence or an example that helps to reaffirm your initial point and develop that argument. Then we're going E, explain, where you need to explain exactly how your evidence or example supports your point. And finally, link as you finish the paragraph off by linking what you said to the thesis and potentially to the next paragraph. So we've talked about this before, but you need to have your introduction, then your body paragraphs, and your conclusion. And then within those body paragraphs should then be the logical progression as you lay out your case. But if these are out of order, it's really going to throw off your readers. All right, we're going to talk about some bad habits that you may need to break. So despite their best efforts, scientists communicate, despite their best efforts to communicate clearly, scientists fall into some pretty common errors. Leaving out or misplacing pieces of the paper, poorly citing articles, lack of clarity in word choices, and lack of improperly transitioning from one thought to another. Notice a lot of these, some of it's leaving out information or poorly citing resources, but a lot of it's just sort of practice in writing, the technical things that can get you to be a better writer. And so with error in grammar, there are built-in tools to help you check those things. Errors in formatting, just make sure your species name is right, the way that you're doing your citations is correct. There are tools that can help you there. And finally, confusing acronyms, use those sparingly, okay? And these are the additional errors that I see in papers besides those ones that we talked about. And use active voice. I like plants, not plants are something that I like. That's active versus passive. It's okay and preferred to use. It sounds stronger and it's less verbose. When you use passive voice, you end up using more words. Okay, so pronouns. Never start a paragraph with one. Make sure there's only one noun that could be considered a pronoun, and add clarifying terms if you need to about this is X. So you always want to establish what you're talking about clearly. Again, look forward. Don't tell me what you're going to tell me. In this paper I'll be discussing, you're going to lose points immediately for that. Give me a preview. Because of X and Y and Z, I will, or I make this claim. And don't say, as I just said, or as was previously mentioned. You can just give the pertinent information and move forward. Oh, this is great. This comic is exactly it. I'm not going to go through. Please read this comic. Read this terrible paragraph that says nothing. The point is, don't get caught up in sounding smart. You want this to be concise as possible. You want this to be clear as possible and use as many words to tell as many things. Use the exact right amount of words. Obviously, there are words you'll need to use. You'll need to explain clearly, but you don't need to be this verbose. Quotations, almost never. There are a few scenarios where it's okay to use quotations, but generally it's inappropriate in a scientific paper. Definitely not to regurgitate. If someone had a unique way of saying something, or if it's for emphasis through storytelling. And that's just some of the common mistakes I want you to avoid.